Some are new to politics completely. They're children of the Great Recession, and they are living in their parents' basement. They feel that they got their education, and the jobs that are available to them are not at all what they envisioned for themselves, and they don't see much of a future.
That's Hillary Clinton talking about Bernie Sanders supporters at a Virginia fundraiser back in February, recorded and apparently recovered from hacked emails. Joining me now, Lachlan Markay, staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon, a conservative paper. That's where the audio first showed up. Where did it come from?
It came from a website called dcleaks.com, which is suspected of having ties to Russian hackers that we've seen intruding into all sorts of political databases recently, DNC, DCCC, and apparently actually the account of a White House staffer who was volunteering on the Clinton campaign, which is where this email and the audio that was in it came from.
You know, she said this during the primary when she was running against Bernie Sanders, and her campaign is saying this audio is taken out of context. How so?
Well, you know, I think it was clear that she was expressing some sympathy for these people she was saying live in their parents' basement, but I think it does reinforce, you know, it kind of sounds like a stereotype of millennials, and as a millennial I can say we're sort of tired of being stereotyped. And I think that's what is really going to irk some of Sanders supporters, and these are people who she's still having trouble bringing into her camp. Only about half of Sanders supporters, according to recent polls, say they're committed to voting for Hillary. Her going on the trail recently with Sanders has demonstrated that she thinks she needs that support, and this I think is only going to exacerbate it.
Donald Trump has said that this tape is a sign that Bernie Sanders should unendorse her. But here's what Bernie himself said on CNN.
She's calling other ideas you pitched, not the ones that you two are working on together, but she called other ones false promises and said that what you were doing was indefensible. That must bother you.
Well, look, of course it does, but we're in the middle of a campaign. And trust me, if you go to some of the statements that I made about Hillary Clinton, you can see real differences.
So he said it bothered him. You said millennials will be irked. But do you think it's going to affect Bernie Sanders supporters and if they'll back Hillary Clinton?
I don't think it's surprising that Bernie said what he did. You know, he's now committed to supporting Hillary. He obviously sees her as preferable to Trump. But I'm not sure that a lot of his supporters really think the same way that he does. They don't have that same sort of political approach to things and are much more likely to sort of take these statements at face value and either decide who to support accordingly or decide even whether to vote at all. So whether or not he gets on board, you know, he might bring some of his supporters on that issue, but I think it can only hurt Hillary. It's certainly not going to bring more millennials into her camp.
All right, Lachlan, thanks for joining me this morning. We got some